On today's episode of Time About the Movies, we have Joe Wright following up on his successes with Pride and Prejudice and Atonement with his latest film, Hanna, with Saoirse Ronan from Atonement, also Eric Bana and Cate Blanchett. And we also have the remake of Arthur, starring Russell Brand, Jennifer Garner, and Helen Mirren among the cast. We have Anna Sophia Robb starring in Soul Surfer, about the story about the woman who she lost her arm from a shark attack and basically went on to become an influential surfer. Despite not having not having both arms, I should say. But we also have, I'm losing my train of thought here for a second, but we have the big-budgeted follow-up for David Gordon Green after Pineapple Express, featuring several of his cast members from that movie, including James Franco, Danny McBride, and also Natalie Portman and Zooey Deschanel, Your Highness, and also one of the most pretentious movies you'll ever see in your entire life, Michelle Williams in Meek's Cutoff. So let's get to it. 5 films to look at on this April 8th, 2011. This is, of course, Time About the Movies.
I live in Leipzig, population 0.7 million people. I go to school at the Klaus Gymnasium.
We need to keep this contained, Johnny.
What else? My best friend's Clara Stiess.
She killed 2 policemen.
I like literature and sport.
I tried to prepare you.
In particular, tennis and athletics.
I don't really know who you are, do I?
Come and find me.
Hanna, rated PG-13.
And welcome to another episode of Time About the Movies, where today we are taking a look at the 5 films of April 8th, 2011. And we begin with our first movie here, and that is Joe Wright's Hanna, which stars Saoirse Ronan, who previously worked with Wright on Atonement, as a teenage girl. Uniquely, she has the strength, the stamina, and the smarts of a soldier. These comes from being raised by her father, played by Eric Bana, who's an ex-CIA man in the wilds of Finland. Living a life unlike any other teenager, her upbringing and training have been one and the same, all geared to make her the perfect assassin. The turning point is at her adolescence, when she's at a sharp one. She's sent into the world by her father on a mission. Hanna journeys stealthily across Europe, while eluding agents dispatched against her by a ruthless intelligence operative with secrets of her own, played by Cate Blanchett. As she nears her ultimate target, Hanna faces startling revelations about her existence and unexpected questions about her humanity. And I'll be honest with you, the first 20 to 25 minutes, I was really enjoying this movie a lot. This is another one of those great thrillers where it's in the snow, you see it all in the snow-covered mountains, and, you know, I'm a sucker for movies like that, especially thrillers like that take place in the cold bleakness of the snow. And the scenes with Saoirse Ronan and Eric Bana as daughter and father are very good here. Then they get caught up by the CIA and walk around the desert. The stuff like that I really liked a lot. It's the second act of the movie where the film starts to fall apart for me. This is a movie that I don't like as much as most people do, and I think it starts with the second act. When they bring in this tourist family, it got boring real quickly. Like, I couldn't believe how boring this thing got when we got to that point, because it just kept going on and on and on. Nothing happened, and it felt like it never ended. Plus, they play no part in the movie except to later find out who Hanna really is, and then to be taken in by the Cate Blanchett character, and then never heard from again for the rest of the movie. Once they're out of the picture, that's when the movie starts to pick up again, and yeah, the movie really kind of falls apart because of that second act, because it doesn't feel like they had a second act planned. It's just like, they had a great first half, they had a great third act, but they couldn't decide what to do with that second third of the movie. I gave you 3 different types of the lengths in this movie. First third, third act, second third. Let's go with that. Second third. Yeah, that second third really was just the part where I was just out of it, and I just couldn't take it. And, you know, it did the opposite of what Sucker Punch ended up becoming. You got a movie here that proves that you don't have to be this badass by wearing skimpy, sexy clothing and trying to pretend like you're not being raped behind the scenes. Like, this is a pure example of a female empowerment movie that kind of works, and not that piece of garbage Zack Snyder made a couple weeks ago. But that second act just needed to be better. That second act just needed to be a much better movie. If that part had been edited again, this movie could have been something really, really good. This would have been up there with Limitless, Source Code, and Rango. It's probably one of my favorite movies of the year. But that second act kind of ruins it, and the beginning and the end of the movie is fine, but yeah, that second half really does hurt the film in the end, and I can't really recommend it because of that. So So yeah, a mixed opinion on that one. A marginal thumbs down, if you will, bordering on sort of a marginal thumbs up, maybe. So yeah, that's my thoughts on Hanna. So let's go ahead and move on to our next movie that we have here. Russell Brand, another movie this April, and that is the remake of the 1981 classic Arthur.
Arthur, your mother called. You're going to marry Susan Johnson. Or give up $950 million.
We don't have anything in common.
You love horses. I don't trust them.
You will not make me cry today. You have got something dark in you.
That horsey. It's not what's it just hurts.
You need a woman like Susan to look after you. At least something in this room is attracted to you.
Arthur, rated PG-13. Help me. Help me. Starts April 8th.
And Jennifer Garner, just like Jessica Alba and Little Fockers, is part of the many reasons why this movie is definitely a major step down compared to the original Arthur. Also for the fact that, why does Arthur have a magnetic bed? In fact, there's a lot of scenes in this movie where you're asking, why does Arthur buy all this stuff? Like, why does he have the Batmobile? Not just any Batmobile, the Tim Burton Batmobile from, I think it was Batman Returns or the first Batman movie. It was one of those two movies, but other than that, though, this is really a pale comparison to the original Arthur. The original Arthur worked because of the great performances by Dudley Moore and Liza Minnelli and John Gielgud. All that worked very well in the original film, and, you know, that's a great movie on its own merits, not just for the movie itself, but for the great soundtrack, the great script, the great levels of comedy. This one, not so much. Russell Brand plays Arthur, which really isn't a bad choice. I mean, to his credit, he's perfectly salvageable in here, but unfortunately, he just has a really bad script that he has to deal with here. But he's a wealthy and alcoholic philanderer who, after a drunken run-in with the law, is forced by his mother, played by Helen Mirren, to marry... No, actually, no, it's not his mother. She plays the butler to... the nanny to John Gielgud's character from the original movie. Who plays his mother in here? Geraldine James plays his mother. She wants him to marry Susan, played by Jennifer Garner, a suitable spouse, or else he will be stripped of his inheritance. But things suddenly become complicated once he meets and falls in love with a free-spirited woman named Naomi, played by Greta Gerwig. And, yeah, like I said, there's pieces about the movie that could work. There's pieces about the film that could be really good, but unfortunately, the script overall, it just really didn't feel like they had the right sense of what they were trying to do here. I mean, like I said, the casting overall is pretty good, with the lone exception being Jennifer Garner. I thought she was kind of being way too sexy for her own good here, and like not even the sexy that she was in Alias. Like, this is just sexy in a way that a bad CBS comedy tries to put sexy. Like that's it. Like the stuff she does in this movie is not really sexy at all. Like this film suffers because it doesn't really know what made the original Arthur so special. It doesn't really know why the jokes in that movie worked so much better. It worked so much better because you had much more likable people in there. It wasn't insulting your intelligence, and it made Arthur a lovable drunk, and that made him work in there. And you did buy into his chemistry with Liza Minnelli, and also the chemistry between his butler, played by John Gielgud, who got an Oscar for that movie. With this, it's not a movie that really does work overall, and it's not for the actors' bad attempts at trying. They're trying the best they can to save this. I just think the film overall just had a bad team behind the scenes. Like, you have a director who has been mostly working in television with Jason Winter, and he's done a lot of stuff for Modern Family, which coincidentally, there is a lot of Modern Family references in here. They'll be walking around, and you'll see like a Modern Family poster in the background. Even though this isn't a 20th Century Fox release, it's a Warner Brothers release, so why is that even in there? But, I mean, Peter Bainaham, I mean, this guy's not a bad writer either. He's worked on a lot of good stuff. Hell, he worked on Borat. He did a lot of the Sacha Baron Cohen movies. He'll be working later in the year on probably his best overall film with Arthur Christmas. This guy's not a hack writer, but for some reason, this movie just felt so off. Like, it's the definition of a movie where they saw how the original film was seen as a classic. They tried to remake it for a new generation, but they didn't bother remaking it with a script that was on par with the original film and made that film work. Here, the acting is working okay, but it's not enough to save the film overall, and it's just like, it really lets you down at the end, because it's just like, you could see the potential was there. You could see that there was something there for something hilarious and something intriguing and fun, but it just isn't there in this movie. And it's a shame because there is so much to admire about the efforts they're trying to put together in here, but the script just needed to be better. The script just needed another rewrite to make it work, and sadly, it's just not in this movie, unfortunately. It's a letdown, really, because you see it, and it's just like, okay, there's potential there. I mean, Russell Brand is a nice fit for Dudley Moore from the original, and his chemistry with Greta Gerwig and Helen Mirren works fine, but yeah, other than that, though, it just didn't work. It's another one of those remakes that thought it was trying to do something better than the original, and it just didn't work overall. So yeah, that's Arthur for you. So let's go ahead and move on to our next movie that we have here, which is probably the overall best movie we have this week, and that is Soul Surfer.
Her story shocked us.
Teenage girl from the North Shore, shark attack.
Her loss touched us.
She will never be the same.
I can't do this anymore.
Her comeback inspired us.
I don't need easy. I just need possible. Something good is gonna come out of this.
And showed us what it takes to be a true champion. Rated PG.
A, it's not really hard to see why, because this one is the one that's at least trying, and two, it's actually this might very well be the best thing that Sean McNamara has ever done as a director, because he directed this movie. Of course, this is the same guy that gave us the epic classics such as Bratz, and of course, Three Ninjas, High Noon, and Mega Mountain. Who remembers that classic? But in this movie, it's based off the story of Bethany Hamilton, and if you don't know her story, she was a surfer who lost her left arm in a horrific shark accident, and, you know, many people thought that she was not going to be able to go ahead and do surfing anymore, but she defies the odds, and here she's played by Anna Sophia Robb, and you also have Helen Hunt, Dennis Quaid, Carrie Underwood, Kevin Sorbo, Craig T. Nelson. So yeah, a couple people that would later go on to star in stuff that made for like Angel Studios, stuff like the God's Not Dead series. People are in this film. But to its credit, the story overall is a very intriguing story about this woman who loses her arm, really doesn't feel like she has anything else left to do in the world now because she can't do the things she loves, and she basically defies the odds and goes out there and goes back to doing what she does best and becomes kind of an influential figure. And to me, that's kind of a very intriguing storyline here, and I think Anna Sophia Robb does a very good job playing in that role. The rest of the casting overall is not bad either. The film does have some really cool surf shots in here. Yeah, it's schmaltzy too at times. It's very much a typical sports biopic, but there have been good biopics of this type that have done this sort of thing and have been pretty much very generic in their own way, shapes, and form. This is one that definitely feels like that, but like I said, it works for what it's trying to accomplish. It's not trying to be like this groundbreaking movie in any way, shape, or form. It's telling the story that is very intriguing and could make for a really good movie, and it plays very well here. Everybody plays their parts very well. The acting overall is very good. It's a really good film. It's one you should definitely check out. One of the big surprises I saw back then. I was not really expecting a whole lot from it, but I liked it. I thought it was actually pretty good. So, let's go ahead and get back to some crap here, and we are talking about some real garbage with our next movie. How do you follow up the Pineapple Express? Give the guy who directed it whatever he wants to do, and then the result comes out to be Your Highness.
This spring, Academy Award nominee James Franco.
You have the potential to be a noble warrior.
Academy Award winner Natalie Portman.
You cannot rest until you destroy those who harmed your family.
And 5th grade class president
Delicious.
Danny McBride.
Let us win!
From the director of Pineapple Express, Your Highness.
Here for another bite of some meat.
Rated R. In theaters April 8th.
Yeah, you can kind of see where a lot of the problems with this movie comes into play. It's a movie that has a very ambitious idea, doing like an R-rated equivalent to The Princess Bride, but yeah, it's got the ambition and the high concept to it, but execution-wise, we've kind of seen this done before in so many ways, shapes, and forms. Like, the premise for this is nothing original whatsoever. You have an arrogant prince, played by James Franco, and his brother, played by Danny McBride, on a quest to kill a sorcerer, played by Justin Theroux, and save the bride, played by Zooey Deschanel, and their father's kingdom, and they're joined by Natalie Portman, who had just won the Academy Award for Best Actress for Black Swan, which, thank God she did, because this probably would have been a movie where, if she had not won, people would have put the blame on this film in particular, but I mean, the film has a good concept overall, an R-rated equivalent to something like I said, The Princess Bride, or these fantasy epic movies, but I think a show like Disenchanted, but from the guys that did The Simpsons and Futurama, did that concept a whole lot better. It was much more funnier. They took more chances with it because it's animation. With this, yeah, it looks nice. It's got a bigger budget to it, but you give a movie like this a bigger budget, you better expect to make your money back here. You don't dump this out in the middle of April where nobody really is going to go see this movie and you think you're going to sell on the same levels that you did with Pineapple Express, and also forgetting Sarah Marshall and all these other R-rated comedies that Universal was putting out back then. But this was just a movie that really, it didn't really live up to the promise that it had. It would help if the jokes were actually funny, but no, a lot of the jokes they have in here are just lazy jokes. Like, oh look, there's Danny McBride falling down in a night suit. There's a part of the movie where Danny McBride sees Natalie Portman coming into his bedroom, and he's just like, and Natalie Portman's just like, I've been thinking a lot about you lately. And Danny McBride's just like, well, that's funny because if I get back to bed, I'll be thinking about you. Just like, jokes like that get so old so fast, and it's just like, come on, man. Like, even the bad guy isn't threatening whatsoever, and Zooey Deschanel has probably one of the most pointless roles I've seen her in a long, long time. Like, this woman does absolutely nothing throughout the course of this movie, and again, it feels like Hollywood has just completely forgotten about what Zooey Deschanel could do, besides what she did in New Guy and Elf, and these other movies. Like, it feels like she's stuck in another performance like The Happening. Like, don't be anything, just be the damsel in distress. Don't do anything. It's just like it doesn't make any sense why she's even in this role in particular. Like, you got her in here. Do something with her. You got Justin Theroux playing the bad guy. Justin Theroux can be fun. Do something with him. Like, the movie can't even do that. Like, this film is so lazy in an attempt to try to be so unique and so different. Like, it's no wonder this thing failed to find an audience. This was back when Universal had so many bombs going on. Like, between 2009 and 2011, they had so many bad movies that were flops. Some of them were actually good movies, highly unique comedies, like the aforementioned Scott Pilgrim vs. the World, and also, what was the other one? MacGruber. And, just recently we had Paul. But this feels like there was a concept there, but they just didn't go all the way with it, and like, it just makes no sense whatsoever why this movie came out like it is, and it just didn't work. It's just not a good movie. It's a terrible film, a complete waste of time. Just not a great film whatsoever. So, at least I'll give this credit. It's at least trying to do something interesting and unique, unlike our last movie, which may be one of the most pretentious pieces of garbage you will ever see in your entire life. Meek's Cutoff.
He's taking us.
Is he ignorant? Is he just plain evil?
Who knows what's over that here? Could be water. Could be an army of heathens.
What happened? What am I talking about? Oh, yeah. Yeah, this is not, it's not a good sign if I show you 10 seconds of the trailer and you already want to fall asleep at this point. That's this movie. This whole movie is literally a film where nothing happens for over 2 hours. Like, this is unbelievably awful. This is a film that is loosely based off of a historical incident on the Oregon Trail in 1845. We have a frontier guide, played by Bruce Greenwood, leading a wagon train on an ill-fated journey through the Oregon High Desert, along the route later known as the Cutoff in the western United States. Yeah, and that's pretty much all the movie. I mean, you've got a cast in here that includes some notable names. The aforementioned Michelle Williams, Will Patton, Zoe Kazan, Paul Dano, Shirley Henderson, Tommy Nelson, Neil Huff, Rod Rodno. This is a movie that I really couldn't believe how lazy it was and just how boring it was. Nothing was happening in this movie. It is one of the biggest pretentious pieces of garbage you will ever see in your entire life. You're sitting there for a long period of time waiting for something to happen. It's just them riding these wagons through the desert, and that's it. Like, at least in the Oregon Trail, something is happening. When someone dies of dysentery, they make it an event. Like, they make it something where you need to pay attention to this because some shit is going down. Nothing goes down in this movie whatsoever. This is a boring movie, and this was at a time when westerns were making a comeback. We just had True Grit, we had 310 to Yuma, we had Open Range, Appaloosa, the assassination of Jesse James by the coward Robert Ford. Those westerns, they may be long westerns, but they're still more entertaining than this pile of garbage. This isn't even an hour and a half long, and it feels like you're just dragging on and on and on and on. Just like, get on with it already. Like, I feel like I need to put in the Monty Python and the Holy Grail clip, you know, get on with it! Like, that's what it feels like when you watch this movie. This whole film is just terrible. It's a bad film. It's a boring film. It wastes too much talent all across the board. What do you gotta say, man? Meek's Cutoff. Cut this movie out of your existence. So with that said, that wraps up another episode of Time About the Movies. We'll head into the middle of April with a couple of notable movies, some good films. Blue Sky Studios' latest film, Rio, with Jesse Eisenberg and Anne Hathaway voicing a pair of macaw birds as they get stuck out in Rio, Brazil, with a colorful cast of characters. We have Scream 4, the fourth installment of the Scream series, directed by Wes Craven. We have The Conspirator from director Robert Redford. And we have another movie that's probably on the same level of badness that the movie I just completely forgot about, Meek's Cutoff, is Atlas Shrugged Part 1. Yeah, that's right. It's the power of Atlas Shrugged can't be contained into just one movie. Yeah. And you're going to see why that this movie has been extended to multiple films, because people who made this movie clearly have no idea what the fuck they are even making the movie off of. But we will talk more about that on the next episode. That's coming up tomorrow. But until then, thank you so much for watching this, and I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please go ahead and hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and hit that notification button. Also, don't forget to check out our playlist, and don't forget to check out the last episode we did. So with all that said, whether it's in the past, the present, or the future, I will see you at the movies. Take care.